Okay, continuing on. Now we're going to factor what is called complex trinomials. Your complex trinomials have a very distinct thing that makes them different. And that is your coefficient of the squared term does not equal 1 or 0. Because if it was 0, the squared term wouldn't exist, okay? So that's a complex trinomial. So we're going to look at things like 2y squared plus y. Oh, let's go 7y. That's what I've got on my notes. 7y plus 6. Okay? Now, notice plus and plus, that means inside the binomials are both going to be positive. Okay? So again, doing this, 2y squared has only one possible, 2y times y. So that one's not as hard as some of them will be. But now we've got 6. If I do a 6 and a 1 as my factors, I would have 6 times that is 6, and 1 times 2 is 2, and 6 plus 2 is going to be 8. That's going to be too big. So usually the smaller ones, the closer together numbers will be it. So a 2 and a 3. Now, I want an even number and an odd number to get to 7. So if I do a 3 times a 2, that's going to be even, and 2 will be even, so it can't be that one. And I can't put a 2 here, because if I put a 2 here, it says that I have a common factor because this binomial will have a common factor. So therefore, the only place my 2 can go is here, and my 3 has to go here, and they're both plus. So let's check our smile and our chin. This is 3y. 2 times 2 is 4y, making 7y. So that's exactly what we needed. Okay, your smile and the chin is a really good way to check these every time. Okay, so now let's see what our next problem is going to look like. 6z squared minus 11z and plus 4. Again, this says the sign is the same and it's going to be negative. So we know that inside here, both of these are negative. Now, we have a 6 times a 1 or a 2 times a 3. Usually, we will go with the closer one first, especially since 11 isn't usually bigger than 6 and a 4. So the closer will probably be our better bet. So let's look at this. If I have a 2z and a 3z, that gives me my 6z squared. Now I have either a 4 and a 1, or I have a 2 and a 2, because 4 can factor in 1 times 4 or 2 times 2. Well, my problem with the 2 and a 2, it's going to put me a 2 here in my first binomial that says I have a common factor of a 2, which I don't have. Therefore, both of these are 2, so I can't get away from that. Therefore, we're going to have a 1 and a 4. That's all we can use. Now, look at this. This is 2z. If I put 4 here, it has a common factor of 2. Therefore, 1 has to go here, and 4 has to go here. Now, let's check our smile and chin. Negative 3z. Negative 4 times 2 is a negative 8z. Negative 3z minus 8z is a negative 11z, which is your middle term, so we have factored it correctly. Okay? See why I said these are more complex. They're harder to do. Okay, let's look at another one. 14x squared minus 17x and minus 6. Minus 6, we're looking at the difference here, okay? Again, we're going to have two binomials. And now I'm going to wait to put the sign in until I know what I've got, okay? So with a 14x, we have either a 2 and a 7 or a 14 and a 1. 14 and a 1 would be pretty big. I think we would end up too big of numbers. So let's look at 2 and 7. 2x and a 7x gives you 14x squared. Now we're going to look at that negative 6. You have 6 times 1 and a 2 times 3. Well, if we have a 6 and a 1, 6 has to go here and 1 here. So that's 12 plus 7. No, we want a subtraction. So if I did a 12 minus 7, there's no way that would equal 17. If I did a 6 here, which it can't because that's a common factor. So obviously that's not possible. A 2 here, therefore my 2 has to go here and my 3 has to go here. Why? Because if I put it here, I have a common factor with a 2x and a 2. Therefore it has to be 3. So let's check our smile and chin. This one is 21x and this one is 2x. And we know it's a subtraction. 21, no, minus 4. 2 times 2 is 4. 21 minus 4 is 17x. So we have the right number. This has to be negative. That means my larger number on my smile has to be negative too. 21x has to be negative. That means my negative goes in front of my 3 and my positive in front of the 2. Okay? So 2x minus 3, 7x plus 2 are my two factors for this problem. And as you can see, these are much more complicated than other things that we've done before. Let's look at some other methods. This I call the guess and check or the trial and error or whatever you want to do. But you're using a lot of logic in it too. So it's not just, oh, let me guess, okay? Let's look at another possible method. This is called the AC method. Remember, this is ax squared plus bx plus c. A times c. So we're going to look at the multiplication of the 14 times the minus 6, but that's not the problem we're going to do. So let's do a couple with that method. 2y squared plus 7y plus 6. Okay, my AC method says I'm going to multiply my A and my C. 2 times 6, a positive 6, is a positive 12. Now we're going to look at the factors of 12 that have a sum of 7. Well, 3 times 4 is 12, and 3 plus 4 is equal to 7. So now we're going to deconstruct this as though we are going to a backwards FOIL method. So my 2y squared will be the same. And then since 3 and 4 are my middle terms and 4 has a common factor with 2, I'm going to go plus 4y plus 3y plus 6. Notice these two terms equal 7y. And now we're going to group the first two and group the last two. And now we're going to use our grouping method to get there. 2y is my common factor times y plus 2. 3 is a common factor here, so y plus 2. 3 times 2 is 6. 2 times 2. You see that? Now we have a common factor, so I have y plus 2 times 2y plus 3. Now let's check. Y times 2y is 2y squared. 2 times 3 is positive 6. 2 times 2y is 4y. And y times 3 is 3y, giving you 7y. You can always check your factor. Let's do one more using the AC method. Okay, 10x squared plus 3x minus 18. Again, using my AC method, no common factor, so I can't make it more simple. 10 times 18 is 180. Now we're looking at a difference of 3. So my factors are going to have to be pretty close together. 10 times 18, 10 minus 8, 18 minus 10 is 8. So they have to be closer together than this. Okay, so I believe, let's see, let's try 12. This will be 2 times 9, no, 3 times 6. So 6 times 2 is 12, leaving 15. That's 180, and 15 minus 12 is 3. So therefore my factors are 15 and 12, okay? So 10x squared, because this is going to make a positive 15x minus 12x because it's a positive 3. So plus 15x minus 12x minus 18. Group my first two, group my second two with a plus in the middle. Now, factor out your common factor of a 5x. Now it's going to leave 2x plus 3. Factor out a common factor of how about a negative 3? No, can't be. How about a negative 6? And this will be 2x plus 3. Because this is 6 times 2 and 6 times 3. Notice, factor is the same, 2x plus 3 times 5x minus 6. A lot of people like the AC method because you just go straight down through the system. Once you get this part decided, it's just a matter of working your way on through, okay? So, if you liked the first method, you may not want to watch the second and the third method. I'm going to show one more method, but if you don't like the first one, you don't like the second one, maybe you'll like the third one. But if you feel good with one of the others, you might want to stop the video and not go any further. But this third method we're going to do is called the slide and divide method. So we'll see if you like that one. Slide and divide. Okay? So we're going to do the same two problems so you can compare. 2y squared plus 7y plus 6. The first step is to slide the 2 over and multiply it times the 6. So you end up with 6 times 2, okay, which is equal to 12. Now you're going to rewrite your problem because the 2 isn't there anymore. You have y squared plus 7y plus 12. Now you've got what is called a simple trinomial, and we're looking for addition of two factors that add to 7. So we have a 3 times 4 is 12, and a 3 plus 4 is equal to 7. So we're going to factor this immediately with simple, giving us y plus 3 and y plus 4. 3y plus 4y is 7y. Now that we've done this one, our next step is to undo this multiplication by 2 by dividing by 2. But what do we divide by 2? These numbers here. So you're going to have y plus 3 over 2 times y plus 4 over 2. Now, the next step, if it simplifies, simplify it. If it doesn't simplify and you have a denominator, slide it back to the front. So this one slides to the front, and you have 2y plus 3 multiplying y plus 4 divided by 2 is 2. And that gives you 2y squared plus 3 and y plus 2. Exactly what we got the first time. Okay? Let's look at another one. This is a different problem. So let's look at this problem. 8m squared minus 10mn plus 3n squared. Okay? Your first step is going to be to take the coefficient and slide it over and multiply it by the 3. So we're multiplying by 8. So I now have m squared minus 10mn plus 8 times 3 is 24n squared. You see how you multiplied that and it changed it completely. Now I have a simple trinomial again. So, again, let's factor that simple trinomial. M times n, m, and we're going to have an n times an n. Plus means the sign is the same, and we're going to subtract them this time because the middle is minus. All right? Now, 24. Factors of 24 that will add to 10. Well, you've got 1 times 24, 2 times 12, obviously not 10, and 3 times 8, that's 11, 4 times 6, and 4 plus 6 is 10. So I know it's going to be 4 and 6, 4n and 6n. Now remember, now that it's factored, I have to undo that multiplication by 8 by dividing by that same number. So we're going to have m minus 4n over 8 and m minus 6n over 8. Now both of these are going to be able to simplify, so we're going to simplify them. M minus, this simplifies to 1n or n over 2, and this one is m minus divided by 2 gives me 3n over 4. Denominators in both cases, slide it back to the front in both cases. So you have 2m minus n over 4 and then 4m minus 3n. Some people really like the slide and divide, but the problem comes in is right here where you have to deal with these fractions and simplifying it and then sliding it back again. This is where people run into trouble with the slide and divide. But it's a really cool method if you pick it up and it works well for you because of the simple instead of the complex trinomial that you're dealing with right there. Okay, the next thing we're going to look at is factoring completely. We'll start another video.